Welcome. This is our very first episode of the School of Athens. We are very excited.
Yeah.
I think we've been talking for quite some time, reminiscing on the idea of starting a podcast. So it's an absolute privilege to actually start it. So I'm excited.
Let's get into it. So, before the podcast, we like everyone says, their first episode's going to be terrible. But like when you say that, you're kind of manifesting that it's going to be bad. So like we just started off and, we're obviously going to improve, but like it's not going to be, we just want everything perfect from the start. So like, before this, we obviously struggled with the audio and stuff, but that's also part of the game. But obviously we've got a few questions. We're just going to go, from the infinite intelligence,
I think also what would be good is to establish what this podcast is all about. You can share your opinion on it as well. I think from my perspective, this is all about sharing the ideas and ideologies that we obviously learn in the pursuit of becoming what we believe to be great men in our own perspectives. And I think there's a lot of knowledge to be learned in the art of sharing as well. So while you're sharing, you also
learning,
learn as well. And it's also fun. So we probably going to be debating a lot of topics as well.
Like in the sauna we also talk a lot. If you can have I almost thought about having like a podcast in the sauna, but that's obviously going to be a bit difficult. But a lot of the great insights come when you're like not really thinking of work, when you're in the sauna or when you shower. That's where shower thoughts come from. You're not thinking of work. So like that's why Alex Emoji's also got a podcast that he's bringing out called Between Sets.
Has he actually launched that yet or not?
No, but like that would be a cool name to get it before him. But like
I think to consciously sit here and be in front of the camera and be like, okay, we're gonna do a podcast. Like, it's much more daunting than it seems, because I mean, if we speak just like in the car, like you said, in the sauna, it's so much different. But I think it's something you'll obviously get used to. But anyways, I think let's jump into a couple of topics.
Yeah.
I mean, we can start with maybe one of those that you had. I think one of the topics that you wanted to discuss was, because we both didn't go study. I mean, we both dropped out. I think you went to university for about 3 months or so. You.
Oh, I was it was 18 months. So 12 months. And then after that 12 months, I was like, this is not something I want to do. So, the whole entrepreneurship path, like I chose that because I knew that university was something I did not want to do. I didn't know entrepreneurship would work. I just knew that the university was something I did not want to do. And the main thing was just you're wasting time. So that's the big thing. It's not like money as well. If you're wasting all that time, that's like the time you can use to take the most risk and you don't have any responsibilities. But after that, people are going to be like, oh, when you're going to get a job, and then you get a job, and then it's like you just have all that time. Time is the big thing. So that's why I chose to drop out. But also we can talk about that, the whole topic of dropping out. I think there's a bit of nuance there.
About that. I mean, that's also very daunting. A lot of people look at, especially in today's time, there's a lot of young entrepreneurs that is to an extent living this life of it looks like quick money almost. Like, they didn't go to university. After 6 months, online business took off, and now they're driving G-Wagons and buying Rolexes. And that's obviously not the case, or at least for 99% of the people out there, that's not the case. So for me, I also didn't, I went to go study, but I didn't initially start off studying a degree. So I went to university with the idea of, to an extent, finding my passion or what I want to do for the rest of my life. I think a lot of people don't really know what they want to do, so they to an extent just fall in the trap of just going to study anything, and usually that is something that your parents say you should study. In any case, that's a topic as well. But I went to go study this sort of like a business gap year course. And after about 6 months of doing that, half of the course was about personal mastery, and the other half was more about business in the real world. And then on the end of the year, they sort of linked the two to each other. And about 6 months in, we started studying about paradigms. And that's when everything shifted for me, because then we actually studied about the idea of, these mental constructs that we get brainwashed from growing up, usually, and this is also another topic, but
most of your 20s is unlearning and not really learning.
Exactly. And so I was really going through a lot of constructs and beliefs that was not forced on me, but to an extent forced on me. I mean, if you get kids and you raise kids, I mean, what are you doing there? You are intentionally brainwashing them with your beliefs, with the intent of that benefiting their life.
Brainwashing also sounds harsh, but brainwashing is just a normal aspect of growing up. It's like just how you form beliefs. So when people say you need to brainwash yourself differently, you need to just consume the content of other people. That's why I think consumption is so important, because like without consumption is like the input, and if you want good outputs, you obviously need to consume the right stuff. And that's through books, that's through podcasts. If you just consume the right content, you brainwash yourself to think like them, if that's your goal.
Exactly. And then there's also a different topic about you don't know what you don't know. So a lot of people don't believe that things are possible because they physically just don't know a different way than what they were initially brainwashed into believing, if that makes sense. So in any case, we get brainwashed by our parents. Hopefully the intention from the parent side is to brainwash you or teach you the way or life skills that will benefit you the most. But the problem is that a lot of parents also don't know better. I mean, that is just how it is. We as younger people, I mean, we're sitting here filming a podcast. This was not possible 30, 40 years in our parents' generation.
And then just the access of new information.
Access of information, like we can literally watch a podcast with like the most spiritual gurus out there, or
best business people,
whatever, and we can tap into basically infinite amount of information on the internet, which is crazy. I mean, you can use that for positive and negative things. But I think basically what I'm trying to say is you were brainwashed by your parents when you were younger. Then you go to school, and then you to an extent get brainwashed by your community, your environment, and your friends. And that is probably like a big thing, especially when you decide to try and make a move for your future. You base that decision off of the present paradigms that you currently believe in. But how do you know that that is beneficial to you before you actually analyze that? And so that is basically what I'm trying to say is that I was analyzing those paradigms and beliefs about 6 months into that course. And then I realized that a lot of the things that I was believing was influencing me negatively. And so that is to an extent where I decided to drop out and try and pursue my own thing. And that is, like Andro also says, then I started, reading a book a week, trying to brainwash myself.
To think how you want to think that's beneficial to your goal.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think a very good idea to look at, or a very good perspective to adopt is, and I know Andrew believes this 100% as well, is to look at the people you want to become, look at their lives, look at what they are doing, what they are pursuing, what are their habits, then basically just adopt their beliefs.
There's a good point I actually want to make on this one. So how your beliefs are formed, and like exactly how your actions, because obviously the actions you take is the results you get in your life. So if you're not happy with the results, you need to change how you program yourself. So it goes exactly like this. So it first starts off with your programming, and then that influences your thoughts influence your feelings influence your beliefs, because if you actually, to form a belief, you need to add emotional power to it, or emotions to it, and then that beliefs dictate your actions, those actions dictate your results turn into feedback, which then improve or opposite of benefit,
diminish, I guess.
Reinforces your programming. So like it all starts with your programming, and that's why people say you need to brainwash yourself. That's where it actually comes from, because you're changing your programming, which then turn into your thoughts, feelings, beliefs, actions, results. So in order to get different results, you need to change your programming.
Yes.
And that's where you need to consume the content. So like, we're going a bit off topic from like the dropout stuff. I wasn't getting the right information that would benefit me to my goal. And it's just like the next step from high school is just like, go to college.
Yes.
But like they don't give you time to think. That's the big thing. Even Naval said like, you want to give at least 2 days out of the week just to think. It's much better to be bored than busy.
Yes.
You need time to think, to actually know what you need to, want out of life. And, after school, you're just like, okay, this, then college, then house, then kids, then, house, white picket fence. Then the midlife crisis comes. And like, now that I have time to think.
What am I doing here?
That's where it all comes from.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think, like Andrew just said now, is you don't really have time to think. And because you're so nervous and you have no idea what you're going to do and your life isn't exactly what you want it to be, I think that's what happened to me 6 months in when I came across the perspective or the idea of you can consciously change your paradigms and your beliefs by working through them, analyzing them, and then keeping the things that are benefiting you, and then to an extent discarding the things that are not benefiting you. And when I came across that, then I really started diving into, that was a challenge I had for myself. That was also COVID year, that was 2020. So I was trying to read a book a week. That was sort of the year I was doing that. Did I read a book a week completely? I probably missed like 3 or 4 weeks, I guess, but for most of the year, I read a book a week. And all of the inputs were consciously sort of decided by me, like I was just reading books about business, about sales, outreach. There was a lot of books about, how to mentally become stronger. And 3 of the best books I read that year was The Power of Now from Eckhart Tolle. I'm not sure.
It is actually.
There we go. Yeah. I'm not sure if The Way of Superior Man was on there as well by David Data, and then Marcus Aurelius' Meditations I read in that year. And those 3 books,
you're talking about books like, are those your top 3?
I would say they're my top 3 because they work so well together, and I have each one of them impacted me in a different sort of aspect. The Power of Now was more I don't want to get in like woo-woo spiritual, but it was more like a spiritual type of book for me. Whereas The Way of Superior Man gave me a bit more clarity as to what is the purpose of men and women to an extent, and how to sort of deal with both of those energies, the masculine and the feminine energy, not just in men and women, but in yourself as well. Like we all have those different energies, and to consciously be aware of those energies is what gives you power. And
also have another thing, like, those Red Pill people or men who consciously obsess about masculinity. That's a feminine trait in and of itself. Just being hyperly focused on being masculine, that means you're not. So, just also watch out for that. Red Pill people, they're also very emotional. Like men in general, we talked about this the other day. In this podcast, like we're not going to have specific topics because obviously I'm going to have themes of the podcast. But like when you're talking about one thing, it's like there's so much things to actually extrapolate from that. Because you can't just give like life advice on one thing and it's just like one answer. There's nuance to everything. Like I did a podcast or like on my personal Spotify on like how everything is connected. Like everything is connected. One problem is like all problems. The thing that all these people says how you do one thing is how you do everything, because everything is connected. Like if you're just disciplined in going to the gym, but not with eating habits, you're not disciplined. So you just enjoy going to the gym. You're not really disciplined. So if we talk about, books, we might branch off on a completely different topic because everything is connected. But yeah, the 3 books, obviously, Power of Now, The Way of Superior Man, and then the last one was?
Marcus Aurelius Meditations. Wait, that's a good point. That is probably
if you can give like your one book and then the main takeaway. From your top book.
I have a lot of favorite books. I think just also just the time reading that book was very special to me because the book is all about, Marcus Aurelius Meditation. So if you just look at his era of time, or like when he grew up, the people he surrounded himself with. The podcast name is The School of Athens. If you look at the history,
we need to dive into that as well.
We can talk about that as well. Look, there's the statue of David. Okay, that's I don't think it's from that time, but anyways, it's the School of Athens. It embodies this movement of philosophy. And what is philosophy? Philosophy is, if you really think about it, it encapsulates everything. It embodies everything. Because from like back in the day, in that time, there wasn't anything like math or science. It was all seen as a philosophy and a way of living, a way of being and expressing yourself. And that's how I see it. That's what I believe this embodies, is the discourse and the debate and the expression of beliefs in pursuit of truth and of greatness, And so anyways, Marcus Aurelius embodies the idea of Stoicism. So there's a couple of different people that also embodies that, but Marcus Aurelius is one of the main guys, and his book Meditation, the main takeaway for me from that is to not necessarily, a lot of people see this different. Stoicism doesn't mean to feel nothing or to have no emotion. Stoicism means to be consciously aware of them and to experience them for what they are, and to become detached from them. Basically, the idea of that you are not your emotions and your thoughts. You are the thing observing them.
That's
Get
also how it
conscious.
connects with Power of Now as well.
Exactly. Marcus Aurelius said, fortune favors the brave. And there's so many things you can take from that. But I think it takes a certain type of bravery to push through the darkness and to push through the unknown and to, you know, drop out of university with absolutely no idea, but just knowing that what you're doing now is not right. That takes courage. And in the time that I read it, I was debating on dropping out, you know, not knowing what to do, and reading meditations just gave me a lot of, not peace, not tranquility either, but probably peace, that, you know, things will work out. And dealing with those emotions, to become consciously aware of them and to become detached from them, that helped me a lot as well. So that's probably like the main takeaway from meditations. I don't know if I articulated that correctly, but that is to an extent how I feel about that book. So great book. Highly recommend to read those 3 books. I would actually love to hear what your 3 is. I know it changes every like month.
I think like the masculine pursuit changes quite often. I think your main North Star vision should still be the same, but your way of actually getting there, you should be adapting like Bruce Lee. You should be like water. You know, you should be adaptive to how you actually get there. But anyway, like my top 3, I'm going to start with 1. So reality transurfing, that's like the one. I'm rereading it for the 4th time now. And that actually ties pretty good into like the unknown. And with that book that really hammers it in is like you should, and it also connects with like the Bible as well, where you pray that you already have it. And then the reality transurfing talks about just believing that you already possess the thing that you want, because that puts you in the mindset of actually being that person. Like Charlie Morgan says, you don't achieve goals, you achieve characters. So you need to behave as if you're the person who already has those goals. So that's why it kind of seems arrogant at the start, because like, wow, you think you're this guy, but like you kind of have to act like that guy before you become that guy. So to actually achieve the goals, and then the money and the goals are like a byproduct. So you never want to go after the money. You have to go after the person and the character traits, the beliefs, and the traits, beliefs, and skill set of the character. So
I think just to add on that for a second, a good example of that is like, if you start out going to the gym, so obviously we all started sometime, like, and when I started, I don't want to say I was super insecure of myself. I wasn't really consciously aware of the perception of looking at your physical appearance or aesthetic and, you know, judging yourself accordingly. But you start off at this place where you are you don't look anything like someone that goes to the gym, and then somehow you convince yourself to consciously go consistently for about 3 months, and then you see minor changes, but not a lot. Maybe the newbie gains. The newbie gains for the first 3 months.
That's like steroids.
Yeah. And then let's say the 3 months after that, then you just see like you see nothing. Somehow you have to convince yourself to keep on hitting the gym to become this, achieve this body or this external physical appearance and you're putting in the inputs, but you're not receiving any outputs, or do you understand what I'm saying? Like you have to an extent be delusional. Like brainwash yourself and be delusional. It is that imposter syndrome. It's like you don't believe you fit in. You see all these other people, and then there's also the factor of bad genetics, and then you just blame it on that. And there's all this self-talk, and I think it is very important to, like Andro said, embody the character that you want to become before you become it. And then you start operating out of that place.
And then just over time, you just look in the mirror and wow, like, I'm him.
Dude, this is a very good point. You need to embody the character you want to become before you become it. Because then what happens is, you need to start not denying everything else that's not that, but to just focus on the things that is that. And then after 3 months, you'll look back and then you'll realize, wow, everything else that wasn't that fell away. And then you really are that person. So you have to an extent, fake it till you make it. But then there will come a time when...
Or another thing is just be it until you are it. I like that one.
Be it till you are it. Just ease.
You just be him. Yeah. You just have to, that's the big thing from reality transurfing as well. Is the takeaway, you should literally just choose. I know Kapil Gupta also talks about that. He's a very controversial character because he says you don't have to work hard because, or working hard towards a goal and doing that, you're working hard because you feel like you don't deserve it. It's like you're working overtime because deep down you think you can't achieve it. But if you actually just choose the goal, like literally, it sounds so strange, but you just choose it and you deep down just actually believe you can do it. That's the biggest thing. And a lot of people say, like, oh, just believe. And like people say it because it's true.
Yeah.
It's like you truly have to believe you can do it.
Yeah.
And then everything that happens, you encounter an obstacle or whatever, it's just like a stepping stone in the way to your ultimate goal because you truly believe that you will achieve it. And that belief, I also thought about that for a while. Like, do you cultivate that? I think it comes from actually removing the limitations and not adding anything else. So that's why I said like most of your 20s is unlearning, because if you actually unlearn and you realize you're this divine creation that can actually choose your reality, like truly, like people say that, but you can actually do it, then you realize you can actually become the person who can achieve those goals.
Yeah.
And it's not through the work, it's actually by removing. You can actually classify that as work. Removing the limitations.
That's actually crazy. That's so difficult to hear that, because I mean a lot, and this is like that cliche thing from like you sitting in a place where you are not happy with your work or your income or your physique, or you're studying something you don't want to study. Then you hear all these successful people that just say, bro, it is possible. You can do it. It's not, I'm not special. I'm like everyone else. And then you just want to like, what do you mean? Like, this is impossible. How do you even
like
do
you don't
that?
Understand me.
But it's like, yo, you don't understand my situation, man.
I'm different.
And my situation sucks. And
no, you're not as special. Like, trust me. Like, you can see all these stories. You're like, I relate with them because they give their story at the beginning. We can maybe touch on that a bit. Like before, we realized we can actually achieve our goals, like that before stage where you think everything was impossible to like, what was that switch? If you can maybe talk about that a bit. A lot of people say, oh, what was the one thing? But like, there's usually not one thing.
You know what?
But what was the
I
catalyst?
actually, and it's not like, I think you will never hear any successful guy say, this thing happened and then everything.
It was like a catalyst.
It's more like that imposter syndrome, and then like deciding the person you want to be. And then over time, you just become that person. Like just by removing the limitations, like Andro is saying, and then choosing a goal, and then basically just doing things that take you close to that goal.
And you know exactly what you need to do.
Exactly.
By the way.
And then literally, it's not about even like starting a business or like signing 1 or 2 clients. Like you'll think like, yo, if I just sign 1 or 2 clients, it's going to be amazing.
The first one will,
and then, but it's almost like after signing 1 or 2, like you celebrate it, but it's more like, it just feels naturally because you already convinced yourself that you are the person that signs.
You know why it feels natural? Like a lot of people, when they achieve the goals, they're like, that's Alex Emoji also said, like, you already achieved goals you said would make you happy.
Yeah.
But the thing about that is, you're already happy before you achieve those goals, because all you're really looking for, or all you're really searching for, is the feelings. Because if obviously the feelings is what creates the beliefs, and all you really want is the feelings. It's like you want the car because of the feelings that it will give you.
Yeah.
So when you get that car, this is why people say, oh, like, why don't I feel different when I achieve those goals? It's because you already felt the feelings of getting it, because you have to get it. So then you're on the frequency of the object or the goal you want, because feelings are the frequency. And then you actually achieve that. And then you're like, why don't I feel different? Because you already feel those feelings in order to get it.
For people that don't understand it, that's going to sound so woo-woo, but I 100% understand what you're saying. No, you sound completely woo-woo, bro. It's just like not... I can 100% relate to that. And to make sure the battery is still good, that sucks. Now I've sort of forgot what we were talking about.
You want the feelings that the things bring you. You don't want the things itself, because it's just a material object, it's just like, what? It's just a car. It's a cool, nice car. I'm still going to get it. But like, you only want the feelings that come from getting it. Like, the eyes and the looks and that kind of stuff. The ego.
Yeah. I think, and this is quite a difficult
We started from dropping out of high school, dropping out of university to frequencies.
To be fair, we can even talk about the quality of what a good podcast is, because I actually think, if you're going to analyze what is a good like look at Chris Williams or Joe Rogan, I think, or Alex Hormozi even. He doesn't have a podcast yet, between the sets, but when he's on a podcast, the reason why it's so successful or why they're also captivating in a podcast is because it is their ability to stick to a question and answer it fully before moving on to a different one. Like we're quite jumping around a bit, which is also fine. But I think the ability to stick to a question and then to answer it fully.
Answer. I kind of struggle with that because like it's difficult to answer one question without going into different parts, because like it's like how to make money. It's like, oh my word, like where do I start? You know, it's not like, you know, open a bank account, get money. It's like change your beliefs. Like what? How does that? You see, it's like a lot of things are connected, so you can't really answer one question with like one specific answer. That's why people ask like, what's the one thing? It's like you can't answer that because there's a ton of things,
so many things
that to be connected.
If we go back to, let's say, the university dropouts thing for a second, so I already discussed like what was the big the canon event for me was going like realizing that you can consciously change your paradigms and your beliefs by taking control of it.
So your catalyst was more like a positive thing. It's like I can change.
Well, I mean, there was obviously like, you know, a girl broke my heart and I started hitting the gym and started reading books, and like I felt like I didn't know what to study. My marks wasn't good and I wasn't interested in school, and it was also like that normal thing. But I think the truth that to an extent set me free, I realized like I can consciously change my reality by changing my beliefs and my paradigms and my way of thinking. And when I realized that I have power over my life, and it's not just, oh, you know, it's not meant for me, I can't do this because of my whatever, that it gave me a lot of power, and I found a lot of strength in that power. And that's when I started reading books. And basically what happened was I just decided to not go and study after that year, because it was more like a business gap year entrepreneurial thing. And I basically told my parents, you know, give me 1 year, let me sort of figure my thing out. And I basically just really worked every second of the day in like every project I could find, like just to make some money, to then reinvest it in courses and ways to find how to make money online. You know, the cliche, looking at Imon Gatzi's videos and all these like YouTube, like how to make money online as fast as possible, you know, and then going through drop shipping. And I was big in cryptocurrency at a stage, and I made a lot of money.
I thought I was a great investor, but like I just invested in the bull run.
That was exactly 2020, 2021 Buffett, in the COVID year. I thought I was a crypto investor. But I mean, anyone could have made money in the bull run. And then, I literally lost like 70% of all that money. And I promise you, I told Andro, in like 2 weeks, which is crazy. And I made most of my money on Dogecoin. I don't know if you guys remember, that's like the first meme coin that ever came out. That and Shibi in that year. And I made most of it on Dogecoin. And you see, I already gone off the first question. So, but in any case, and then Dogecoin, I made a lot of my money and I lost it all. But in any case, I then went trying to figure out how to make money online for like a year or two while I was doing like odd jobs. And I was working in real estate for a bit, in sales. And that didn't go so well. And then I sort of took more the marketing side of the company over, and I started becoming the videographer and photographer, because that's actually one of my passions and what I do as a profession. And I started taking videos and photos of real estate for about 2 years, I think. And then I reinvested all of that money. If it didn't go into my gear, it went into courses. And one thing led to another. And then I started editing videos for Andro's agency and for... what is that business model? Like,
what business model?
Social media agency. But like, okay, explain what that is all about.
Social media marketing agency. So it's basically, there's a lot of different services that it's like an umbrella of services you can choose from. I can basically go over what I'm doing, because obviously I don't have experience in the other. So basically we're working with pretty high level influencers, and we're doing like mass short form content. So I have a creative agency. So it's more like, content. It's not ads or anything like that, because as you know, I actually had a gym agency. I didn't succeed at that at all. I cold called every single gym in the UK. Like I would come back from, the gym, and I would just cold call. I called every single gym. It was extremely brutal, but that was like some character development. And also went through the courses and stuff like that. I went through Iman's course. didn't find much success with that. I got like 5 meetings from that, didn't close a single one. And then I had a call with like Iman's sales manager. So I actually worked with him back in 2022, and I had a call with his sales manager, and he said, drop this gym agency and go straight into the creative agency.
Oh, what was his name? What's this guy's
Emmanuel.
name? Emmanuel.
Yes, yeah. I think he's a sales manager or sales. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
maybe it's not even part of the company anymore. But like so I went all in on that. Joined Charlie Morgan's Easy Grow. Had a pretty good testimonial from that. And then so I started working with high level influencers, because obviously I worked with Iman, so I had a pretty good testimonial, if you can say that. Started working with Mike Tyson, like pretty big guys, so we do the content for them, so just like at a mass scale. I say this to like everyone on sales call: if everyone's doing content, you have to do more or better, so we do both. So we just do both, and that's basically what we do. Is we work with like pretty established YouTubers who already have like 100, 200, 500k subscribers, over 1 million sometimes, and we just expand their growth through mass content. So like posting a lot of videos a day, not just like one. Because like content is this is why we created this podcast, and why everyone is doing contents, because that is how you grow a business. Gary Vee even said like content is the cost of relevancy in our society.
It's attention. It's attention. It's all it is.
Yeah.
It's literally just in these different forms of attention, but in our day and age, this is the best return on investment, and it's only going to get bigger. I mean, if you think about it, what was the best way to get attention 10, 15 years ago? To create an ad on
TV or radio
or Netflix or radio or whatever. And before that was
it's all attention.
It was all attention. And what was the entry to create an ad for DSTV or Netflix? It's like you had to get an insanely expensive production team to shoot this ad. Then you have to pay an insane amount of time, airtime to let it get aired on radio or TV, DSTV, Netflix, whatever. You pay for time slots. So it's an extremely expensive way to get your brand out there. Whereas now with social media,
it's free.
It's free.
But that's also, there's a positive and negative with both.
Yes, because now the entry level is so much lower, so a lot of people can get into it. But if you really know what you're doing and the quality is good, personal brand is the biggest thing you can do, because
that's why we do the content. Because like we are growing their personal brands through content. And that's how you essentially, because like if you think about it, why did you buy any course? You consume their content. That's the only reason you buy their course. Even before you buy the course, you watch a few of their YouTube videos and you're like, okay, this guy's providing some value. Let me buy his course. You don't know what's inside the course because you haven't bought it yet. So the only way you're going to buy their course is by consuming the YouTube videos. That's all you're going to do.
And you buy it with the confidence or the belief that the person you're buying it from is worth it. So you're investing in him, and you only know that by
consuming
if he shows himself, and operating in his lifestyle and the value he produces, like Andro just said now on social media, like the videos that he's making, like absorbing his content. So whatever you're doing, in whatever niche you are, it makes 100% sense to put yourself out there on social media, because, I analyzed this a while back. Like, what is the big thing about personal brand? It's you have control over the persona you show people.
I'd have thought
online, for good or bad. Like, I mean, that can be like persuasive or negative or wrong, not virtuous, whatever. But you can consciously decide what persona people see about you, how they see you, in what light they see you, and you can create what do you call it? Like, not strength in your niche, not authority in your niche by creating this persona of yourself. So if you already know, let's say for example you're a real estate agent, and you can create an extremely authoritarian persona on social media with all the information you have about real estate. You don't have to show the negative things. Like, is that even a good thing? Like,
it's all about perception. I was laughing. Ty Lopez said the biggest personal brand is Jesus.
That is great.
Like, it's like the whole personal brand, people think like, oh, it's just content, but like it's literally your identity. So how people see you, it's just online. So it's obviously we not grew up, but like our ancestors only knew like 150 people, like your tribe was 150 people. So now when like you get a video that gets like 10,000 views, you weren't programmed, or your brain isn't, used to that, like getting criticism from 10,000 people.
We don't even know how, we don't even understand what is 10,000 people.
It's like 10 schools. That's how
like, bro, like what? The most amount of people you'll ever speak to at once is maybe at a kayer, like on a Saturday. Like you got like 15, 16 people there. Like imagine like 10,000 people. We don't even understand the power of that. And we just see it as a number. It's like when you're doing Forex or cryptos, like when the numbers fluctuate, you get so detached emotionally from it because it's just numbers. You don't realize that it's money, it's life force, it's time that is fluctuating. It's not the money itself. You see like Bitcoin or whatever, Ethereum jumping up and down, or especially in Forex, you get so detached from that. And it's almost like the same with like these like views and on social medias. We don't understand. If you get 100,000 views on a video, like, bro, that is 100 schools. Like, that is crazy. Like just doing an oral in front of like 30 people in your class was like killing you.
Like a presentation.
Yeah, like what? And
a mondeling.
Now 100, a mondeling.
Like if someone actually enjoy doing presentations, like
get out of here.
Get out of here.
Get out of here, bro. That's crazy.
It's another topic we can talk about. I think another one, I just how going to the gym, like a lot of people see that as like wasting time almost, but we can actually talk about that, like your health. And a lot of people don't see how important that is, because like when you're young, it's like you're not really experiencing any issues, but like you can even make more money if you sacrifice your health in the short term. You will make more money because it's less time spent at the gym or eating healthy food, like just getting Uber Eats, stuff like that. But like in the long term, and like Charlie Morgan even said, be careful of sacrificing your youth for wealth, because you have a lifetime to make money and only a while to be a child. So like you have your whole life to make money. You only have like your 20s and like your late teens. You have the most drive and testosterone. So like that is actually the time you should focus the most on your health and like build that solid frame and foundation, because that's when you have the most drive, testosterone, all that, but you have a lifetime to make money. So, you'll also be more focused on your work, which will, help you make more money. Bro, so health is a wealth play.
Dude, there's so many angles to approach this and so many ways to sort of say this, but dude, like health is wealth. Like that's like a cliche thing, but
I think another one is, I'd like to change it. I say health and wealth is wealth. Yeah. Like you can't just be like a healthy broke guy. Like
you gotta have
health
both.
And wealth is wealth.
But I mean, especially in a day and age like today, where everybody like, bro, like really analyze, just for like a second quickly, sit there and really think about, what did you just eat for breakfast? Like, what does breakfast even mean?
I'm sorry, I'm just going to say one thing. If you ate like OTs or something like that, just get out of the channel.
Get out of here, bro. Get out of here.
We don't want you to watch this video.
No, dude. But like we already, like remember as well now. So we deep in the rabbit hole. Like we will never be able to go back. So we already brainwashed ourselves into believing that it's ridiculous. So just remember that as well. We're definitely biased here. But if you think about this for a second, what did you eat for breakfast, bro? Probably like some porridge or something. Like, it's crazy. Just like the border, like we got so lost in our generation of what is health or what is like being healthy. Like look back in the 1980s. I went through a research paper about the testosterone levels.
It's the seed oils.
Listen to this.
It's just the seed oils.
1980 versus now. What's it, like 44 years later? Men's testosterone have dropped with 50%. Bro, 50% in 40, like, we don't even understand that. Like, what does that even mean?
Every year, it's dropping by 2%.
Like, that is ridiculous. Because if you think about it,
it's all part of the game, yeah? Because testosterone makes effort feel good. And if you're not putting effort into your work, you're not going to make money, which will be broke. So you then, you'll then be... you have to work a 9 to 5 basically, which no one really wants to do.
There's so many things to say about this, but it's like, testosterone isn't just about, you're masculine, got muscles, gym. Dude, testosterone improves or influences everything you do as a man. And if that thing is low, like, bro, your life is like you're setting yourself up for failure in so many different ways from the start. even if you have bad genetics and your environment is terrible, now you are inflicting damage on yourself by eating your pap. Or your oaties, you know,
wheat pix.
Your wheat pix.
Okay,
and that's the thing, like we also think that these things are good, but if you're going to have a look at the British, what do you call it, like the health, okay, I forgot the name, but the people that basically run the health domain in Britain, if you go look at the 10
the leader
investors, like the health regulators or whatever you call that, the 10 investors, the biggest companies that invest or that sponsor and they sponsor the finances and they sponsor it. It's like brands like Coca-Cola. I think Kellogg's is on there. There's 3 or 4 like highly processable foods that are endorsing these health health domain. It's like, bro, what? You can't tell me that Kellogg's is healthier than eggs. There's no way that is even true. Or all these processed foods, and now we're getting told that, you know, steak is bad for you, eggs is bad for you, all these whole foods. It doesn't even make sense if you logically go and think about it. Or the soap and stuff that you use. Go turn around your soap bottle. Go look at the ingredients. It sounds crazy woo-woo, but you can make a bomb with those ingredients. You don't even know what it is. Now you're putting it on your hair and you're wondering why your hair is falling out. Or the skin and why your skin is looking bad.
Yeah, the skin is also your biggest organ. So everything you put on that is going to be absorbed.
And now you're putting literally your engine cleaner on your body. You don't even know it. And that is crazy. Or fluoride in your toothpaste, or you're drinking tap water. You don't even know if the pipes are being cleaned or the rust that's on the pipes. Like, just go and Google the image water pipes. Like, bro, it looks terrible. You don't want to drink. You don't want to. You just want to control the controllables. That's all it is.
Let's give some, practical advice. Like, I think the first one is to swap out tap water for bottled, remineralized oxygen water. Like, you would just like that brain fog you experience, like that will be gone once you cut out tap
that's
water.
Also to do with carbs, bad carbs, that brain fog. But I think the biggest thing that I always want to say is control the controllables. It's all these things can seem woo-woo, far-fetched. Don't drink tap water, or there's a study done in America that said, tap water is making the frogs gay. And then there's so that's a different, that sounds crazy.
Probably just the estrogen in the water.
And it's a solid study that tap water is making frogs gay. So these are completely different sort of route that you can follow that when you go look in America and stuff like that. But so if you look at the key sort of fundamentals for health, the key inputs for health is you want clean, fresh air, the best quality possible water, and good food.
And
then
sunlight,
and then a bit of activity. So if you can just control that, people think I'm crazy for not drinking tap water. It's like, bro, drinking tap water every now and then is not going to kill you.
No, like one glass, like if you really, that's fine. But
it's fine.
Don't take it to the extreme.
But if you have the finances and it's good for your health, control the controllables. Just don't drink it, bro. If you have a reverse osmosis system, remineralized reverse osmosis system in your house, fine, fair enough. But if you don't have that, just go purchase some water bottles. It's going to be in plastic, 5 liters, so put it somewhere in the dark so it doesn't get microplastics, don't seep into your water.
I see people bringing in plastic bottles in the sauna. I just want to slap it out of there. Like, what are you
frame
doing?
Here for a second, but I'm going to go fetch this glass water bottle just that you see that we're about that life.
There's actually some lemon juice in as well.
Bro, look at this. This is what you want. Okay, so this is This is Andrew's glass water bottle. This bottle is from a bottle of raw unpasteurized milk, by the way. So, and then in here is some suurlemoen for those electrolytes.
And biggie pink sout.
And some pink sout.
So like when you wake up in the morning, like you are extremely dehydrated. So when you can have some, cinnamon sap and some lemon juice with some salt, like that will just kickstart your morning.
So let's really finish on the first question. So I think control the controllables. Don't drink tap water.
Sunlight.
Drink reverse osmosis,
at least 30 minutes of sunlight.
30 minutes of sunlight. We can get into that now. Also, water, glass bottles. Very important. No microplastics. And if you do a plastic water bottle, don't put it in the sun. Okay, that's just terrible. And then, like Andrew just said now, sunlight. Very important. Vitamin D. So especially first thing that I wake up, like 90% of the time, I try and get sunlight directly into my eyes within the first like 15 minutes of waking
Huberman,
up.
yeah.
Andrew Huberman said this. It's not just me randomly like trying to, tell you what to do. Andrew Huberman said this, and the reason why I do that is to set your circadian rhythms. So you want to do that in the last 15 minutes of the day.
And one thing we forgot actually is sleep.
Yeah, sleep is a very important.
That's
There's
almost
so many
number
things
one.
we can get into here now. But Andrew Huberman said that a very important thing for sleep is, and like just for your all-out energy levels for your day, is your circadian rhythms. And just think about this for a second. So let's say 300 years ago, when we were part of the Khoisan, or we were in the bush hunting, wildebeest or whatever, your body, when the sun came up, light hit your face and your eyes opened and you were like, okay, it's daytime, and your body stopped releasing melatonin and you got going because you got light in your eyes. And then when the sun went down, melatonin started producing when the sun sets, when there's no sunlight hitting your eyes, and then you start feeling sleepy. Now what do? When we want to go to the bathroom or after the sun sets, boom, pop on a light, or all these blue light,
your
artificial
phone,
lights. We're
laptop.
sitting with our phone, laptop before bed. Your eyes, your body thinks that the sun is still up, and it doesn't release melatonin. And melatonin is what makes you sleepy. So I think a very big thing is blue light blockers, number one. And number two, get some direct sunlight as soon as you wake up. Number three, get some direct sunlight as soon as the sun goes down. And then like blue light blockers, when the sun goes down, wear them, and then don't put on the light when you want to go to the bathroom. Put on some candle light. Everything like the red light, orange light, that type of spectrum light, so candles for example, that is fine. But any blue light like your screen or phone is terrible for you.
So I think another thing we'd like to mention, with these health stuff, we obviously very almost like perfectionists when it comes to that. Like we are just trying to make everything top tier. But let's say going to on the subject of like making money, that's obviously very important as well. Like you don't have to do this. Like it's not like it's obviously important if you want to sustain a healthy lifestyle, but like if you want to make a lot of money like pretty quickly, you don't really have to do that. And obviously some nights you have to work like pretty long hours, so like you're not gonna have the the blue light and all that stuff is gonna interrupt your sleep. But like I remember my first like 3 months, it was like 16 hour days. I would find myself sleeping 2 a.m. on my laptop. So like that was it's a rough time, but like you have to go through that stage, because like if you want to set a goal, it's almost like there's like also another topic, but you are kind of telling the universe that you want this goal, so then it's going to test you. And you have to go through that testing as like a trial of fire. A lot of people see like the first 3-4 months, it's like if you actually have like systems in place, like it's brutal, like extremely brutal.
That's a good point. It all comes down to the goal, so the thing that I think about the health, I'm very passionate about about my health and just a natural way of living and trying to prioritize being as healthy as possible. And I think the biggest thing is that I think it's, if you are not working 16-hour days and you're just chilling at home and you want to be healthier as a normal person, things to really go and look at is, for example, that circadian rhythm, the blue light blockers. It really does help. The tap water, sunlight. The best health protocol that you can do for all-round holistic wellness is this one. I'm 100% believe there's nothing better and healthier for you than this exercise. Is to walk outside for an hour without a shirt in the sun, barefoot, with your Seed Lemon sup in a glass water bottle, listening
to a podcast of an audiobook. Like that's the most high ROI activity you can ever do.
You cannot name anything that's better for you. If you think about it, it's a daily movement. You're getting steps, you're getting vitamin D. And if you are walking after you ate your eggs, your cholesterol, bro, you're literally producing testosterone in the sunlight. Vitamin D plus cholesterol. It will produce testosterone. Like, bro, you will literally become the most optimal version of yourself if you walk for an hour outside, barefoot, without a shirt, in the sun, listening to a podcast.
But you kind of have to be jacked to do that. Like. Imposter syndrome. That's why you have to go to the gym and lift heavy weights.
I highly recommend do that for a month and then let me know what you think. I think that's the best thing you can do. And then do some mobility work if you like, or bonus points if you can do it in nature. And if you're walking on grass, and then go and do like some mobility, go on like a squat, do what you need to do, like be at one with nature and with your body. And when you're back at home, back at your desk, you sort of feel re-energized. That's probably the best thing you can do.
Yeah.
And then if you look at, so we both intermittent fasting.
So we haven't ate anything yet. Just a few cup of coffees, and then we break our fast usually with like steak and eggs.
Yes.
It's a very controversial one, but like steak and eggs every morning.
Yes.
I actually have to order mine. Mine is up. So, but yeah, steak and eggs. Then I go for a walk. Yes. And then usually an hour after that I eat the gym. You're at your strongest at 2 p.m. So you can then lift your weights, have maybe a coffee beforehand, and then you're ready. So lifting weights, like I see a lot of entrepreneurs, like they make decent money but they're skinny and twigs. Like come on, bro, like you need to have some muscle mass. I'm sorry. You need the whole package. Like you can't just make a lot of money.
It helps. It also just helps with your confidence, bro. Like I mean, there's a point being made, like, okay, fake it till you make it, but also you carry yourself differently if you know you built well and you worked hard for your body, and your concentration levels is so much, it's just so much better after, like working out with weights is also probably one of the highest return on investments that I've ever made in my life. When I really started taking the gym seriously, I even made more money. Like Andro also said, like a couple months ago, he also said it's crazy how when you get consistent with the gym and then a year later you're just
like, what happened?
You just get rich.
But it's like that's why I said a lot of people think you're wasting time, but you're actually building the skill of discipline and consistency, which is extremely important with making money, because you have that compound interest with you. So the discipline is obviously extremely important, and how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you discipline in your work and not discipline in the gym, it's like you're not disciplined, you just like doing the work.
Good point. That's a good point.
We can have some closing points.
I think let's quickly finish the topic about the fasting. So we both jumped through a couple of diets. Everything, all of this when it comes to health was all to optimize our life, to make more money, to live a better life. It's good to make money, but it's not the best thing. It's good to be healthy. It's not the best thing. It's not the end all be all.
You need the entire package.
All of these things are factors that help you live the life of a good man. So the question comes, what do you believe the life of a good man looks like? So that's a different type of question.
Yeah, that's another podcast.
But I think with the fasting, for example, I fast for between 14 and 18 hours a day. It's usually about 16 hours. Let's just say that to ease it out, 16 hours a day. So I would eat usually my first meal between 12 and like 1. And then my last meal, I'll usually eat between 6 and 7 p.m. So you want to eat your last meal 4 hours before you go to bed, just to ease out digestion. When you actually sleep, you actually want your body to rest and to recover after the weights that you did. You don't want to digest food, and digestion is one of the most energy taxing processes in your body. Now all of us are eating at 9-10 p.m. Now you want to go to bed at 11 and you wake up tired and you wonder why your body hasn't rested. Or
when you even eat breakfast at like 8 a.m. like the energy is used in your digestion system and not for your brain, which is actually your brain takes a lot of calories as well. I think there's a study, like when you play chess, I don't know how true that is, but you burn like 600 calories.
What?
But I don't know if that's true. Like a 2-hour game of chess. It's like my new cardio.
That is crazy. But I think, so it's a good point you also made. That's why we're also fasting up until 1 p.m.-ish.
Yeah, you get your deep work done.
Yeah, because digesting is such an energy taxing process that if your body is not using its energy on that, you have so much more excess energy that your body can use and utilize for focus and cognitive function. So if you pair that with some other health protocols that we don't have to get into everything, but we have like quite a killer morning routine. I think a very good thing is you don't want to drink caffeine an hour and a half after you woke up. You want your body to actually wake up naturally and don't shock it with caffeine. And you don't want to drink caffeine later than about 2 p.m. because caffeine has a half-life of 5 hours. That means half of the caffeine gets used within 5 hours, and the other half of the caffeine gets used within 10 hours. So you actually want to drink your last bit of coffee 10 hours before you go to bed if you want to really optimize it. But in any case, so the first drink you need to drink is when you wake up, some hot water with cinnamon sap. What do you call it in English? Lemon.
Lemon juice.
A lemon juice, like a half lemon. You
and
juice.
some pink salt as well. Do you use pink salt?
If you want to do
like
pink salt,
Himalayan.
I don't do pink salt because the reason behind doing the lemon is for the electrolytes. And that's why you would do the pink salt, is for the electrolytes. I don't do pink salt. I throw pink salt on all my food, and because I don't like the pink salt in the water, it just tastes terrible. But then I'll do the seed lemon, and then I throw some silagit in there. So if you don't know what that is, it's basically just it's like this black tar paste that they scrape off the Himalayan mountains, but it's extremely rich in minerals. And then I drink that in the morning, and then about an hour and a half later, then I'll go walk and get some sunlight. Then an hour and a half later, then I'll cup some espressos, meneer. Then I got like 4 or 5 espressos in before, okay, probably not that much, like 3, up until about 12ish. And I also recently started drinking this bulletproof coffee. I don't know if you have that, but it's basically like this coffee that gets you into ketosis quicker and has some MCT oil in, some other cool stuff. It tastes great. It has about 90 calories in per serving and doesn't break your fast, and it basically just keeps you satiated up until your fast. So I don't get cravings at all. And then if you do that, you fast it with caffeine, like, bro, like, I mean, you can deliver your opinion as well, but you're so focused and dialed in, it's almost impossible not to get your work done.
Yeah.
And then your first meal should not be any carbs, because unless the carbs that you eat has a low glycemic load just means that the how the carb sort of spikes your blood sugar. So a low glycemic load just means that it doesn't spike your blood sugar as much. So low glycemic load for like carbs, I mean, sourdough is like somewhere in the middle or like more lower. So I would say if you like eat like 100 grams of sourdough, like you won't really spike your blood sugar. Fruits, oranges is also about like 46 on GI glycemic or the glycemic index, sorry. And so if you want to do carbs, look at more like fruits and stuff like that, but I would never really want to do more than 40 grams of carbs if you don't want to boost your blood sugar. So we usually just do eggs and steak, and I mean, I think you do chicken sometimes as well. And then you gooi the carbs like before you eat the gym, and then like but your last meal as well. Then you can just gooi like your sourdough.
Yeah, you also have to think like the hunter-gatherer phase, like you, or that that era, like you had to work for your food. I also wrote like a mini book as well, like you have to hunt first, and hunt in this time is like doing your deep work and like your work. So like you have to, I'm a big believer in deserving your food. Like that sounds kind of strange for some people, but like you have to kind of deserve it. Like how else would you appreciate something if you haven't worked for it? It's like getting a 6-pack just for doing nothing. Like you won't appreciate it. So you need to like appreciate and also like there's this spiritual thing as well. Like when you pray for food, it's like it's also more anabolic. It's like better absorbed for your muscle growth. Like a lot of people just eat food just to eat it and then get done. It's like it's much better absorbed. You're actually like present with the food. That sounds weird, but like actually appreciative of it. And you're more appreciative of it when you work for it, and you do that through hunting. And like in our era and phase, it's like actually working, doing your deep work, and then after that, go for your walk, and then hit the gym at around like 2 p.m.
I 100% fully agree with that, and I think if we all really go and sit down and really think about all these concepts and like woo-woo things that doesn't really, it seems a bit far-fetched, like praying for your food is more anabolic. It's like you hear that and you think it's a joke. It's like maybe it's a bit of a joke, but if you really think about it, if you sit and you're eating now, like you're watching YouTube, you whatever, you're not there with your food. You're not consciously eating and absorbing your food, being grateful for the animal that you had to kill to eat this food or whatever, and then consciously feeling the protein going to the muscles. And like there's a certain, like in the gym, like you wanna like, it's called mind muscle connection. So when you're eating, bro, like sit there and be like, I'm grateful for this steak. This steak is gonna increase my vitality. I'm gonna make more money because of this
steak
meal.
Made with love. Like it's more anabolic, really.
So
that's the main ingredient.
That is a very good point, and I highly agree with that. So I think we did really well for our first episode. I think for like a final
word of wisdom from the School of Athens.
I want to actually ask one question that I actually thought about now. It is a crazy question, but
what is the purpose of life? No. That's my next one.
That is crazy, bro. No. I think if you had to give, this is a very cliche question, but
You're 18.
There's a couple. There's millions of these people's gonna watch this video.
Yeah.
So there might be one or two lighties out there that's gonna look at this video, or people that are in similar situations that we were about a year or two ago, where we were not working for ourselves and sort of being like in the rat race 9 to 5, or just not doing what you don't enjoy. You know, maybe working for a boss is part of your whatever your goal, that you like the security. You know, there's another topic is nothing is wrong or right. Andro says there's a lot, there's just trade-offs. So maybe you value security more than you value financial
that's all
freedom
genetics. That's why the best advice is to know thyself, because then you know, like the worst thing ever is to get good at the wrong thing. That's why, you know, a lot of people have the what's it,
or like midlife crisis.
Yeah, that's where that comes from.
It's like hitting the gym and then realizing, like, when you're 35, it's like, oh, you can't step on stage because you don't have that genetics. It's like, that is a reality, and that can be the same for sales or whatever. It's like some people were just born to they just
you need to play to your strengths.
That has a lot to do with that book that I was talking about earlier now, or that we spoke about, is The Way of a Superior Man. And that's what I mean by that masculine and feminine energy. If you go and look and dissect the amount that you have, to an extent, like how masculine you are, that sounds also very, I don't know if that's like very
based in facts or whatever.
Yeah, but it's more like, if you analyze the byproducts of masculine traits, if you go look at what that is, and you are low in masculinity, then bro, you're gonna have less of those traits. I mean, that's just how it is. A high masculinity just means you're prideful. So sales is very good is probably going to come very natural to you if you hire in masculinity, because you are less emotional, because emotional and the fluctuation of emotions and the flow of love is a feminine trait. That's why feminine people, or women that are more feminine in general, is better for kids, with kids, because they're more emotional and empathetic. High masculine people, like let's say Donald Trump or Andrew Tate or whatever, they are not necessarily that emotional, and they're more stoic, and they operate out of a place of intellect. But in any case, let's get back to the question. So the question I want to ask you is, what is the number one piece of advice you can give to someone that's symmetric? But I mean, that is a good question. I think it might change
because
with time.
It boils it down to
But think, if you really had to stand with one thing that really, and think about this for a second, like, what would that one thing be?
But like, for what?
Yeah, let's define this question quickly.
I just while you think about that, like, I think nothing about sales as well. Like, I've done a few hundred sales calls already, and the main thing is, like, you have different personality types. You have like a practical person who's more logical, so you need to play to the more logic of their side, and then you have the action, which is more like, let's just do it. Like, why waste time? Let's just go. We'll figure it out along the way. And you go through like a questioning phase where you kind of need to understand. That's why sales is so cool. You learn to read people, and then it's like the action, which is just like, let's go. Like, what are you waiting for? Like, we'll figure it out. And then they're like, okay, let's go. And like, then you have the social, which is more like, just playful and like chat about the other client like that. You probably know it is. Like, you're just more social with him. Like, oh, that's a nice place you're going to. Oh, where's the travel? We're traveling now. And then it's like, you talk about travels and then you close them as a client. Like, it's just crazy. And then emotional is more like, oh, think about it. Like, what would happen if you actually, didn't go through with this and you actually stuck to what you're doing right now? Because the actions you took right now led you to the sales call, and you wouldn't be on the sales call if you didn't experience some form of a problem, and then like, oh shit, you're right, like, I need to make a change. So that's the emotional. So I think introverts actually do better in sales, because 80% of the time you're listening and you're just like learning like what type of person they are, and then 20% you're just like, you know exactly what to say, you play to their emotions, you're not manipulative, you're just speaking their language. So obviously with the practical, you're more logical, and then action, social, emotional. So it's the PACE system. But yeah, like the one piece of advice for is like health, wealth, love, happiness, or just all around.
Yeah. The question is more like, what would you say is the one thing that you decided to do when you were younger that really changed it for you? Like, okay, I don't even know if that was the right question to ask, but I'm going to say, okay, let me just give you my answer. So this really stuck to me. And when I heard this, it really resonated with me, and I think this is probably my entire life is based off of this paradigm. That's probably Yeah, a good question. Yeah, what is
Like
that
what paradigm
for you?
shift?
Yeah, so for me it was this. Jordan Peterson spoke about this, and he spoke about a couple of cool things, and about you have to find your dragon, and I was a big gamer back in the day, and I still like playing some games. And the more difficult, or the difficulter the boss in the game gets, the funner it is almost when you experience a tremendous amount of joy when you actually then defeat that dragon. And then when the dragon is defeated, you to an extent feel a bit depressed. Then now you find a new game, and it's that lack of purposeless that creates that depression and anxiety. So, okay, but that's not the point. The point is that Jordan Peterson once said that the purpose of life is to pick up your cross and bear it. I don't know if you've heard that before. And the idea is not just to pick up any cross, to pick up the heaviest cross you possibly can and carry it. And the cross represents struggle,
difficulties,
responsibility, struggle, difficulties. And to be able to pick up the biggest amount of responsibility that you possibly can in your environment, even if you look at it selfishly, there's nothing but good that can come from that. So what does that mean? Picking up as much responsibility as you possibly can is to increase the community that you are in and the environment by doing your part. Now, the trade-off of this is that it might be something that you don't want to do. And in fact, it probably is that thing that you don't want to do. But it's almost 90% of the time, by taking that action in faith that it's going to work out for you, that on the other side of that is what you find to be purposeful and happy, because it's in the midst of the struggle, and it's the struggle itself that creates the value. The bigger the struggle and difficulty, the bigger the reward is. The reason why people value a six-pack is because it's not easy to get. If it's easy to get, it's not valuable. So in fact, you actually, if you want things that is valuable, then look for the most difficult things to do. It's difficult to start an online business and to make money online, but that's why it's valuable. And so by analyzing the things in your life, and if you're sitting there and if you're depressed and anxious, you don't know what to do with your life, find a goal, whatever the dragon might be for you, find a dragon, find your goal, and then analyze the person that you need to become to have that goal, and then pick up the responsibility and the burden that person needs to pick up every day and carry the damn cross. That's literally all that it's about. And that's also a biblical reference. But I would say that's probably the biggest paradigm shift that helped me to get through, to become the person I am today. And I listened to that in a podcast just when I dropped out in 2021, and that sort of set me up for success. I would love to hear your opinion either on that or
like
your
the biggest
paradigm.
thing is just don't try and make $1 million, become a millionaire. It's not like that is the biggest thing, is you need to become the type of person, and that comes through struggle and pain. Like Charlie Munger said, to get what you want, you have to deserve what you want, and to deserve what you want, you need to go through that suffering and pain, because if it's not painful, then it's not worth getting. So when I was at the start of my entrepreneurship type thing, there was two paths that I could choose. It was starting an agency or doing forex trading. That was the two. I thought I was going to become a millionaire forex trading, right? But literally, I didn't do this consciously, but I didn't write it down and think, oh, okay, this is how I'm going to do it. It's I deep down thought, which one is going to be the most difficult to start right now? And that's the one I chose, is the agency, because you learn so many skills. You learn appointment booking, you learn persuasion, you learn copywriting, you learn marketing, you learn sales. It's you learn all these things. And with trading, obviously I'm not a professional in that, but you just learn to see the charts. You don't work with other people. Obviously I don't have experience in that, but you learn less skills. Obviously it's still difficult. It's
gonna trigger some forex traders in there.
But obviously it's the same difficulty. To actually get successful in both, there's no such thing as shortcuts. The shortcut is the long way. The best shortcut is the one with no shortcuts. That's the biggest shortcut. So that's why you need to choose the one with the most pain at the start, because you learn the most skills. So that's the thing that I also unconsciously thought of. But yeah, Charlie Munger literally said, like, to get what you want, you have to deserve what you want. The world is not yet a crazy enough place to reward a whole bunch of undeserving people. That's the biggest thing that people nowadays, especially, they just want everything. What's the word? It's like they are
victims.
No. It's like they think they just get all the rewards by doing nothing. You know, what's that called?
I understand you. I don't
Yeah,
know.
like there's a word for that in the comments or whatever if you watch till this far. Obviously a real G. But like there's a word for that, and that's the biggest cause of struggle and anxiety and depression, all that, is to get something without deserving it. And if you don't have the thing you want yet, it's because you don't deserve it yet.
And what's really difficult is to not get the thing that you feel like you deserve. Then it gets tough. Luke Baumar infamously once said that you can't track your outputs, you can only track your inputs. And that is what makes entrepreneurship extremely difficult, especially in the beginning. And in fact, anything that you pursue that is purposeful for you, and that's where imposter syndrome and where the brainwashing and stuff comes in that we spoke of earlier, is that when you put in the effort, that the person that you believe you want to be one day, that you're pursuing, that you believe he does every single day, if you put in the effort but you don't get the output, that is what makes the successful people successful, is they just keep on doing it with the belief that it will happen. Because there's a completely different conversation you can have about that, but 50% of life is about hard work, inputs, and your conscious taking action. And the other 50 is genetics, right time, right place, right moment,
luck, basically.
God, luck, faith, whatever you want to call it. It's out of your control. So you can only control the inputs, and then whether or not the outputs happen, that's a matter of time and a matter of consistency. The more you practice, the luckier you get. That is what Gary Player said. So,
also I think Alex Mozo said, like, the work is the goal. So like the outcome isn't even the goal.
That's not
the reward. Like the work, how hard you can work is the goal.
That is people need to really understand. Like, I mean, we're not perfect. It's not like we know everything. It's obviously just us sharing our ideas and going through what we believe. But for a random person, that sounds crazy. But the goal is not to run. The goal is to become a runner. And that's like embodied. Like, it's not to have $1 million. It's to become a man worthy of $1 million. The person that makes $1 million. That is the goal. And I think with time, everything changes so much. Like, you obviously start off with this idea of, I just want to make money and get rich and look good and feel good and travel the world. But then while you're doing that, your entire way of operating changes, and you become the person, like we said now a couple times, that you need to be in order to achieve those things. And then the goal becomes completely different. Then it's because that person doesn't do it for the goal, for the thing, for the money, or he does it because he knows that's the right thing to do. And without doing that thing, he feels lost. Like, when you become a millionaire and you receive that goal, like, there's a lot of people that get very depressed. Why? Because that was the thing they chased, and now they have it and they realize that, it wasn't all that, and it's not.
Yeah, that also ties back into, you already felt the feelings, so you're expecting a different feeling, and then when you get the $1 million, you're like, why am I not feeling different?
Yeah,
but like,
because you already felt it. That sounds crazy for someone that doesn't have $1 million. I mean, I don't have $1 million, but
not
like,
yet. Yeah.
I'm fairly content, bro. Like, I mean, I think to live and to operate out of a place of contentment is a double-edged sword, because you mustn't be content to the point where you don't want to pursue new things and become better. But if you can operate out of a place of abundance, that's probably a better word. To operate out of a place of abundance, that you do it whether or not it receives anything, and you are happy with what you have. Detachment. This is a good point. Detachment doesn't mean you own anything. Detachment means nothing owns you. So if you can operate out of a place of detachment, things will just happen for you. It's like that book,
Reality Transfer.
It talks a lot about like pendulum. Okay, well,
pendulums.
Yeah, that's a completely. That book alone is like 20 podcasts. But I think we can wrap it up. I don't know if you want to say anything else.
I think there was one thing I wanted to add, but I forgot now. But I think that's a good one for the first one.
Lekker man.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm very interested to see how many people actually watch this first episode.
Mm.
I'm very excited to be
It's
able
gonna
to
be
look.
like 2 views, me and you.
I think I'm very excited to look back at this first episode in a couple of months or
Years, yeah. It's like
years and
That's the big-
and really see and completely judge this and be like, oh, this was terrible. What were you doing? Look at how we're speaking. But this is what it's all about. You know, is these moments, these
like yeah,
inputs.
my first sales call was with Jordan actually. Platinum.
Was that the first one?
Okay, it was like my second
This is
one.
a full circle moment, bro. We actually worked with Jordan. Like actually, like I previously mentioned, like I'm a more like a head of production type of guy. So like filming and stuff, and I actually edited 2 of his vlogs. So we actually met him in person, and like in a span of like 3 months that all happened. But sorry, go on.
Yeah, so like my first sales call, like I obviously record my sales calls, and my first one was terrible. Like, okay, it wasn't with Jordan because I obviously don't want to talk about that right now.
We'll link it in the comments.
So like he literally quit on me. It's like, but now it's just like second nature. Yeah. You obviously get better.
It was deservingly though. Jordan wasn't like being a dick or anything, or you know.
Yeah,
but,
anyways, I think that's a good one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, dude, I enjoyed it. It was good. Thank you for watching the first episode of.
If you stuck to the end, like,
bro, if you actually watched it till here,
comment
comment something.
Comment a gorilla emoji.
Yeah.
If you
comment
stuck
a gorilla
to the absolute
emoji.
end. We will remember your name, like in a year's time.
Yeah, please. Yeah, I'll definitely hit you up in the DMs.
All right. Yo. Anyway.
All right. Cheers. Peace out.
Cheers.